you've got so far, share it down and bring the people up with you, because it's hard. The creative industries are hard. So many people I speak to, they're like, I don't know anything, and I'm like, you know so much. If you've been in business even more than 24 hours, you know more than someone who hasn't. Like,
and probably it's fresher in your memory, those early mistakes, because you're there.
God. Yeah.
Best piece of advice you would give to your younger self?
Oh gosh, listen to my gut. So much more. And to be honest, when I was younger, my gut was really good when I was younger, but
it always is.
It is, and it's probably less now the older I've got, because I think we were talking, you're like, was I right then? Is my gut right?
Losing that trust with myself. Yeah.
I feel like we
Hello everyone, and welcome to Going Places. This is the podcast to help inspire clarity in your creativity, because you, my friend, are going places. Do you notice I nearly had a brain fart through? I am so excited to film this episode because I was just so over the moon by all the wonderful comments from my latest episode, from my first episode back, and I'm just I was so close. I was this close to not posting it, and I messaged some of my friends and I sent them some of my clips, and I was like, I'm not sure about this. Do I want to put this out? I don't know if I should even putting my energy into this. And they all convinced me that no, it's good. And I just think I was a bit worried about kind of sharing my honest opinions about some of the experiences I've had with, and I just never want to feel like I'm throwing tea or shade or but then also I was just second guessing myself so much with that episode. And do I want to make my whole brand that I've had 2 breakups this year? No, I don't. I don't want to be. I was really second guessing myself. So thank you so much for all the wonderful feedback, because it just made me feel no, that's exactly why I made it for, because so many of you said that you have been feeling the same feelings that I had in that episode, that you deal with loneliness in your business, especially being single, how difficult it is to deal with the loneliness if you literally are on your own all the time, and then you lose your best friend, your significant other, and it's whoa, I don't know if I can do this anymore. But actually I've had some amazing conversations, and I know this, and but it's almost like a reminder when you go through another challenge. But you can build that social aspect into your business if you want to. You just have to put more effort into it, and you have to put more effort into scheduling those coffee dates and drawing dates, and putting effort to meet other creatives and then build your network. It just isn't kind of ingrained, it's just different. You just have to put the energy and the effort to do it, and I think it's harder to do it if you're like me and you live not in the middle of the city. So yes, I'm so lucky and grateful for all the wonderful comments that I had from that podcast episode, and I'm so excited to carry on with this podcast. And I have so many guests that I want to bring on. I want to bring on all of my friends, and I'm just very, very excited. I feel like I was trying to figure out what the vibe is for this podcast, and I really feel like it's a cross between Emotionally Online and Creative Pep Talk podcast, those 2 podcasts that I love. I just feel like that's the vibe. It's gonna be your big sister energy, sleepover vibe, relaxed, down to earth, just a chat, just a little candid chat between friends, but then also covering topics of creativity and strategy and ways to actually thrive in this cozy living crisis as a creative. And that's the kind of energy that I'm hoping to push this podcast into, and I have so many hopes and dreams for this podcast. So thank you so much for everyone who sent me a lovely comment, because I was literally this close to being I'm not going to post it. I was so close. And then also the day I uploaded it was the day that the internet crashed, or the IT crashed. So I was is this a sign? Is this a sign that I shouldn't do it? So thank you so much. Maybe we can start every episode with a little life update. Big news. No, I'm joking. No, it's no big news. There's no massive news from last week. But work's been really good. I have been up. What was it? 2 nights ago, I was up till 4 a.m. working on something, and it was just a massive lesson again in like time management. And then I had the day after that, I think I had a massive UTI, worst UTI of my life. And I think that is the hardest thing as a freelancer, is navigating when you have a big deadline and you wake up and you're ill and you completely out of your control. And I know sometimes some people, friends of mine, have been able to kind of like get extensions and get an extra few days, and most clients will put that into their kind of like plan. But yeah, it's just such a lesson in like, yeah, there was a few days last week where I could have probably have worked like longer, and it meant that I probably could have handed things in earlier. But it's hard to know that you're going to get UTI. Like, it's hard to prepare for those things. But I think as a freelancer, you constantly have to be like, right, I have spare time. Like, what can I do in order to like help my future self? Because when you do get ill, you still have work to do and still have deadlines to do. And that's, I think, the hardest thing to navigate. And I know some of my other friends who have like chronic pain have to take into consideration that into their briefs. And I think it's just important to be upfront and honest about those things. But if you're just getting like tonsillitis, which has happened to me before, or, a UTI, the worst UTI ever. Yeah, it's really difficult. Like, if the work isn't done and you get ill, like you still kind of I've always had to push myself in order to get stuff done. I need to get better at doing this, of just putting the deadline earlier in my mind and in my calendar, earlier than the actual deadline, so I'm just ahead, like one step ahead of everything. And I used to behave in that way. I used to act in that way and create in that way, and I need to get better at that. I need to get back into that routine of like, oh, the deadline's here, pop it in my calendar for like a week or 2 weeks before, and then like everything's handed in early. And then if something was to happen, there is more time to play around with. If you get sick, you're like, it's okay, I can spend 2 days in bed because, I need it. And I'm just so the kind of person that's like, when I'm sick, I cannot do anything. If I feel like the symptoms of a cold, like even if it's just the sniffles, like I'm on bed rest. Because I know that, and I think we can all learn through COVID, is that the last thing you want to do is, when you're starting to get a bit sick, is push yourself too much, because you do just end up being sick for way longer if you don't really listen to your body. And I think as a freelancer, it is easy for me to be like, I'm just working from bed today, I'm just doing my emails from bed today. And so why not take advantage of the fact that I have that as an advantage to take, When I used to have really bad periods, my periods aren't that bad anymore, but they used to be really bad when I started my business. And I would arrange all my deadlines around my periods so that I could fully have like a day in bed cramping and wishing I could die. Let's be real. That's what it was. And crying. And it's just, I'm not creatively at my best. I'm not functioning at my best on the first day of my period. I'm just not. So now it's fine. Like, I feel like I'm essentially like a robot or a man. Like, I can work on my period great. Like, I don't know whether it's being this many years into my business, but also my periods are way, way, way more manageable, especially with running. My periods have comes so light. Moving on, talking about my period always. My back. This is the one thing about being single, is that when you have like an itch on your back, or like tan you want to put, or lotion you want to put on your back, it's just like, I have to do it myself, or ask my mum, or like a necklace to put on or something. It's the little things. I'm going to go through some of the questions. If you have any questions on creativity, any questions about my work, any questions about just life in general that you want my opinion on, or any dilemmas, comment on this video on YouTube, or just send me a DM or send me an email, and all the information will be in the description again. I've got 2 lovely comments I want to go through. So Holly Exley, who I'm such a fangirl of, and Holly, whenever you comment on one of my videos, I'm like, oh my god. OG illustrator on YouTube, massive inspiration to me and my content creation. And like, Holly, you inspired me. This is just, ignore everyone else watching. Holly, this message is for you. Holly inspired me to be like honest about my activism and my like values as an illustrator in my work. And I think at the time when Holly was starting to post videos, or when I found her, I don't feel like that was the norm. This was like, you know, before Me Too and all that, I'm sure. And so, you're a massive inspiration to me. And just seeing how she's always like stayed on business. Is that the right phrase I want to use? I don't know. But she's always stayed true to her values and her morals, and have built her business and her creativity and her clients based on that. And I think it was so important to see someone doing that, because I don't think that was the norm at the time, and I just feel like that was hugely inspirational to me and so many other people. And her work is wonderful and amazing, and you should all sign up to her Patreon because she's amazing. And Holly has said, great chat, Natalie. Thank you. Oh my god. I would love to hear you speak more on your possible career change considerations and your thoughts on the longevity of illustration careers, etc. I kind of feel like AI is going to take my job within the next couple of years, and I am sad. First part, career change. I think for me, my background is as a graphic designer, so I've always had that in the back of my head, like, it's fine. If all else fails, I have like qualifications and experience to fall back on. I also have been taken on throughout my whole illustration career. I take on the odd design freelance freelance job. Sometimes people that I knew and different agencies that I've worked with before will be like, we have this brief that is like a combination of illustration deliverables and graphic design deliverables, like we know that you can do this. So I get briefs like that sometimes from previous people that I've worked with in agencies, and people I've met on my design career, and people that I studied with. Yeah, that's been amazing actually. And I've taken on some also strange design work from that, you know, you wouldn't look at my illustration portfolio and think, oh yeah, this one's for her, but just people that just know me and know my work and know my talent, I was going to say, but that sounded really big-headed. But I think I've got pretty good talent when it comes to design eye, and even though my it's just a completely different world to illustration, but I still have a little bit of that skill there, and I haven't completely let it gather dust. Every year I probably do about 3 or 4 design projects, ranging from like packaging to, you know, maybe I'll put some things up on the screen. Sometimes I'm kept on, it's happened a few times where I've kept on as like a retainer, as almost a creative freelancer, as like a jack of all trades person that's like, oh, you can do social media, you can do a bit of design work, you can do illustration, like, and I think that's also something I'd really would like to do moving forward. So I think the idea of going back into a design role just makes sense for me, and especially with my social media experience, like I know that I have experience in kind of content creation, understanding content strategy. I have skills in creativity, and I think the idea of working within a company where I can use one or many of those skills sounds great. And I know some illustrators that are graphic designers like full time, and then are sometimes able to kind of bring in their illustration into their design work, because instead of hiring an external illustrator, they'll just get someone internal to do it, which often is much cheaper than hiring an illustrator. So I think that's what I would see myself kind of going into originally. There's also, I'd love to be able to get to a point where I'm like a regular guest lecturer somewhere. So it's kind of just like, these are the things that I'm thinking of in my head. And I think the idea of getting maybe like a part-time position at university sounds like great. I've been really researching that for the last few years. I've been guest lecturer at a couple universities and had just the most wonderful experience. But then also I'm just like, do I want to be doing loads of paperwork? Like, I don't know. I don't know. But I think I'm probably more drifting towards the idea of working within house in a company rather than in an agency. It just is a bit more stability. I think the pay is better, a lot better. And if I'm giving up illustration in order to go into a full-time job, like that's definitely something I'm going to be considering. Is like the pay has got to be worth it and has to be a lot more than what I'm getting now. Like, yeah, the interviews I've had have been for design roles with like, oh, illustration experience would be great vibe. Yeah, I think I have a broad range of skills. Like advertising myself for jobs. I have a broad range of skills across like social media, design and illustration that I just know that I'd be able to be a great asset to a team and also be able to be creatively fulfilled. And then I think I've seen some of my friends that have do their illustration stuff on the side of their full-time job, and it brings them so much more enjoyment because they're making work that they really want to make, and it's just fun and it's purely their hobby again. And then they'll occasionally do like products and stuff, and it feels really special because it feels like it's full of joy again. And that is a feeling I would like to have because I don't feel that way at the moment. At least that wasn't the coffee. I've been thinking about, I feel like a little villain that I'm just like on a swivelly chair. I feel like I should have like a cat and just be like, yes, I've been thinking about AI a lot. The time has come. Robots are taking over. You know what? My feeling is going to be a weird one. I don't know much about it. And I think that allows me to be like incredibly naive on my opinion on it. I probably know more about like stocks and shares than I do about AI, which is, you know, saying something. GameStop. That's as far as my information goes on stocks and shares. My view is like, whenever we get scared about anything that's happening in our reality right now, I think we should look at history. My dad, he was old enough to be my granddad, and he would say that a lot. And so he had this like thing about the TV, and I think he was quite scared of the TV. Like, you know, don't watch TV too much, you're going to get square eyes, which is what he would always say to me because I always watched a lot of TV. I think that any technological advancement there has ever been has always been met with this thing of like, this is going to destroy the human race and like, we're going to die vibe. The reason why I bring up my dad is that like, my dad never turned on a computer. He doesn't know what the internet is. Like, he never got that far. You know, the reason why I think about the TV and that my dad had this like perception that like TV equals bad and it's going to ruin your eyes, and I feel like any technological advancement is always met with such a pushback of like, this is going to disrupt us too much, and like, this is the end of the world, and like, robots are like machines are taking over the world. And granted, I know there's like so many bad things about AI. Like, I think it's gross. Like, everything I know about AI, I'm just like, yes, I'm scared and I am freaked out, and no one should be able to take anyone's art, especially not a robot. And I'm scared. I'm scared. Like, everything I know about it is freaky. Like, I don't want my art to be taken without my consent, like without my permission. Like, it just feels like you know, artists are the ones that are going to really suffer. At the same time, I think looking back at history and looking back and seeing that every time there's been an advancement of the machines, and then now it's like print and like vinyl and like scrapbooking and all of these like old things that we thought were going to die out have like now become even more special. And like, I think the humanness of artistry cannot be replicated by a robot. I will argue to the end of the world on that. I just don't believe that it would, and maybe I'm really naive and maybe I'm really dumb, and in 10 years I'm going to be like be eating my own hat eventually, but I just don't believe that art made by humans will be replicated by a robot. Like, I just don't think that can happen. I think the problem is that it's kind of like Canva. Like, you know, as someone who is trained as a graphic designer, my background is in design. The idea that Canva came out was like, you know, it hasn't made beautiful logos created by like incredibly talented and hardworking graphic designers. Like, graphic designers still exist even though Canva is there, and you can make your fucking logo for free if you want to, well, or whatever the cost of the subscription is for Canva. You can make your beautifully designed presentations without having a degree in design. You can do all the other stuff that you can do on Canva, but like, graphic designers are still very much needed in our society. Creative agencies who get paid sometimes to do presentations. I remember once designing a presentation for a client. They're still going to go to them and not make it on Canva, because guess what? Like, the stuff that is created by a human person is going to be better, and you can tell when something is made on Canva. And then also, I think people who have the money and want to create, you know, a logo for their company that is the best logo they can possibly create, they're going to go to the best, and that is going to be someone who can create a bespoke, unique, individual logo for that person's business. And I think the people that will want to take the shortcuts because they are a small business, or they want to make a logo on Canva because they don't have the money to do it, they can do that, which is amazing because they can access these amazing tools. But still, the industry is there, and there's still going to be a demand for designs for a business. There is just going to be more of a demand for like the way things were, and that is going to feel more special and more beautiful and more unique. And like, look at the rise of like vinyls. Like, I remember being young and like CDs being the thing, and like, you know, there was massive talk around like vinyl industry's gonna die out, like it's dead, like that's not gonna exist, that's gonna be a thing of the past. Like, and look, vinyls now are like so in demand, and so people, you know, can access all the music they can on their phone, and they're still buying vinyls. Like, like, I'm buying vinyls. They're still buying vinyls. You know, Brat, look at Brat by Charlie XCX. Like, everyone, loads of people who loved that record went and bought it on vinyl so that they could have it, so they could touch it, so they could see it with their eyes, so that they could experience another level of the artistry by touch, physical touch. And like, I think that is never going to die. That's never going to die. Maybe even just looking at pop culture as a whole, like, it is becoming more experimental and wacky and fun and out there and pushing boundaries. And I just think a robot can't do that. The human element of art is always going to trump what a robot can make. I just don't know. Maybe I'm really, really naive and stupid, and I'll eat my own hat later on. And you can all come back to this video and laugh at me. Studying graphic design, there was a lot of talks as well about like the media of print is dead. Like, magazines have died. They're DED dead. They're dead. And like, now, like, print is definitely not dead. If anything, it's more special. I remember Kindles coming out and people being like, books, no one's going to buy books ever again. And people still buy books. Like, I don't know. I just think in every way imaginable, technology has like helped us and advanced us. It still hasn't gotten rid of the things that are like the most valuable in our lives. Samantha has said, really resonating with what you said about freelance and single at the same time and how lonely that is. It is a struggle and a half. Teary face emoji. This is the first time watching / listening to the podcast. I'm excited to keep following along, and I need some creativity / art life chats in my life. Thank you so much for your comment. And yeah, that brings me nicely on to my first guest on the podcast, and I'm so excited to be talking to Kim and from the Uncommon Folk on this episode, because I really think it just like is the antidote to the loneliness in a freelance life. And I just think you have to put the effort to making your connections and networks. And if you don't know how to do that, this episode and my guest is going to essentially help you meet more people and create a network. I'm such a fan of what Kim has created with the Uncommon Folk. I've been a member of the website for a long time, and I've seen it grow. And honestly, like, the amount of stuff I've learned and the amount of wonderful people I've met, it really is inspiring, and it really has helped me. And I've cancelled all my other subscriptions. I'm gonna be real. I've cancelled all my other subscriptions to do with creativity and everything, and this is the only one that I would actually purchase. Like, again, like, I would go and definitely check it out, because I just think Kim is doing something super special over in the space, something that I think is a blend of so many things that I've been looking for. And yeah, her doors are open. The Uncommon Folk doors are open for free, and she's going to discuss that more in this episode. And I'm so excited to share this episode with you. We filmed it outside on my office as we were doing an event together. So there's a bit of wind, there's a bit of sun, but the audio is actually, I was surprising, as someone who isn't traditionally trained in audio, like, I was like, this audio is okay, like, I'm excited. So it's given me a confidence to be able to like record on the go. And yeah, I'm just so excited for you to hear this conversation. Recording. Perfect. Okay, so hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to talk to you.
I'm so excited to talk to you. It feels like we've gone full circle since I came here for the little video thing. I miss it.
When was that? When we first met?
It was actually longer than I remember. Like, it feels like last year.
To Paris the next day.
I think it was, yeah. I feel like it was like 2-3 years ago now, because it was quite close to COVID. But
it was, because I got COVID in Paris.
Oh my god, I love how we talk about COVID.
COVID in Paris.
That you like judge your life on when you had COVID.
Yes,
COVID was, but yeah, I think
the
pillar.
It was like 3 years. But tell me about. Okay, tell everyone what you do.
So I'm Kimberly, and I run a company called Uncommon Folk, and we do lots of things, but we're essentially a community, and I say business platform, but kind of platform for everything to support free living, purpose-led, creative founders and freelancers. We got lots of stuff going on, but our purpose is to make sure that people who want to live a different kind of life, we call our people a new breed of business folk. They want to do business differently, they want to do life differently, and they're doing it exactly the way they want to do it, not following kind of narratives and stereotypes. We're for those guys. So yeah,
love that. And talk us through the website and everything you do on the online.
Yeah, so we've got Uncommon Focus, like the umbrella brand, as I call it, and we do lots of different things on there. My background's digital marketing, so I really want to help people there, but our main thing is Uncommon Club, and that's our membership, and we're actually just opening up for free for the rest of 2024, and the main aim is to gather this global community of outrageously cool people who are doing really cool things, and just have a space where there's real conversation, real connection, away from social media, away from all the fakeries of that. And that the club is already open, we've got some incredible people, but we want to go bigger, because the magic that happens in the club when people step away from that kind of fake narrative of how business should go, and it really does help people, like people who are launching and it's not gone the way they want to, they go back online and they see all these people making silly amounts of money, and it's like, mine's not done that, when they're in the first 3 months of their business. So
the first 2 years.
Exactly, first, and it is so hard to say, they feel like they're so far behind, and it's not just for that, but that I feel like where the magic is. And we also have a really innovative is that we have creators in the space, like you're joining us, woo! And it's really creator led, so lots of different people come in and you can access different programs, different memberships, so you can kind of build your own lineup. I always say it's a bit like a gym, like you get the bits that you need. So say you wanted to stretch at the gym, you go to Pilates and you'd go to that, but in the club, if you wanted more creativity, you could go to like your sessions. If you needed to boost your business, we've got SEO sessions. Wholesale, you come to the wholesale ones.
Yes.
They're incredible. They're really action-led, really clinic sort of vibes. And we've just got an incredible lineup of experts. So you kind of jump in and you can get whatever you need, because everyone needs something different. There's no obviously set thing. You might be year 5 your business or day 5. You need something different at every stage. So it's kind of
I love the website. I've learned so much. I've been going to the wholesale ones for a long time. I mean, Therese, who I've been following before,
we love her.
I love her. She's amazing, and
She's so
the sessions
good.
are so amazing. To see people come in and have that homework to be like, okay, by the next session I'm going to have this done, and like led by someone who knows what they're doing, like
literally
just sharing everything they know.
Straight up. And we have like master classes, don't we? But the one like the wholesale is so like what you need. You ask your direct question. It's an open Q&A clinic type coaching thing, and it's just so good to pick an expert's brain for an hour, and like you might have a question, but then you get yours answered, but then the next person has one, you're like, oh my god, I didn't think of that. It might be that even you don't have a question, but we talk about getting into different stockists, we talk about your like wholesale magazine, and it's just so, I find them really valuable rather than just sitting through a masterclass. So I love, and Teresa just brilliant. All of our accents.
And that's a massive thing I think with university, even though I love going to university and I had the most amazing experience and I rate my course so much, especially in comparison to other, because I did graphic design, they really kind of made you discover who you are and then make work about that. So you leave with work that you're really proud of and is connected to you.
That's so good.
There are those technical business things, especially as a freelancer, that like I know unis are getting better at now, but like traditional education are notoriously bad for those massive gaps. I rate my uni because I feel like they really did bridge the gap, but I've spoken to so many people that studied exactly the same thing as me that said that they didn't have half of what I had at uni.
It's really tricky because I used to work for a uni and I think they're great, and I used to do the kind of connecting people in work to show them, and some of the students didn't turn up and I'd be like, please turn up, but a lot of it, like, it's really hard for the unis because they have to teach you the technical side because that's why you're there.
But I would say in art, you don't, well, design, there was no technical classes. They were like, we're going to teach you stuff you can't Google.
That's what you want. That is exactly what you want, and you want to be able to take it as soon as you step out of uni. You've got something that you can do with it, rather than just like, oh, I've got this stuff and now how do I piece it all together? And that's the thing, isn't it? It's ask an exact question.
The businessy side to things, I have learnt the hard way.
I think everyone.
And also the loneliness as well, and that's why I love the club so much.
Do you know what? My main thing with the club is bringing people together, because don't you have those conversations with someone? It's not about even the support, that's all great, but it's the little nuggets. Like someone's like, oh, I found that bit of tech the other day, or because we all learn from our mistakes, and we all seem to go through the same mistakes, and then because we don't all we're not completely authentic. No one is completely authentic on social media because there's this customer barrier that you can't sort of say, guys, I don't know what I'm doing. Just help me a second. You kind of have to like bring it back a little bit. But in the club, someone will be like, oh, have you just tried it that way? Or have you just tried it that way? And it's those, like, it doesn't seem like even a piece of advice, but it completely can change the journey that you're on. And they're the bits I love about it. The little, like we were talking about earlier, like with our little event that we'll be running in a second, like just a little co-working spot around the corner, like, or like moving to Barcelona,
which I might do.
maybe sneaky. Where do I go when I get there? Where's the good spot to be, like, for my kind of person? And like it's those sort of nuggets that we all should be sharing, and we don't. So many people I speak to, they're like, I don't know anything, and I'm like, you know so much. If you've been in business even more than 24 hours, you know more than someone who hasn't. Like, and
probably it's fresher in your memory, those early mistakes, because you're there.
God.
Which I have a problem with some. I'm not beefing with any teachers, but I genuinely have like a problem when I've spoken to and also I've grown up and looked back on like some of my educational experience. I had some amazing teachers. Other times had teachers had no idea what they were doing, and also put people down based on like outdated expertise. And I know a lot of queer artists have had that experience where, or whether it be something that back in the day wasn't talked about, whereas now it is. It's
very different now, isn't it? But back in, like you say, back in the day, and back in the day, everything was different. Creative careers was different. You were looked down on then. If you were queer or had any other thing going on, you could have been looked down. And there's all these elements that didn't get you ahead. And I do think things have changed now, but I think there's a lot of teachers that aren't happy themselves. They don't want to be a teacher, and then they're bringing that energy on, and you're like, there needs to be a new form, a new way of teaching, like by the people that are living it and loving it, and share that energy to the next. Like we were just talking about it, weren't we? It's, you've got so far, share it down and bring the people up with you, because it's hard. The creative industries are hard. And if we're like going a bit against, there's a wasp.
Is that a wasp or a fly?
There's a wasp.
I touched it.
Oh God. We just need to bring each other up and have that energy. But like you said, I know you're not beefing on people, but
it's just the
hard.
generalization, and you hear so many stories. Did you have any experiences of when, because you have this energy where you do want to help people and like you're passionate about like sharing knowledge? Is that come from somewhere?
I don't know. I think it's inner me. I've always been like it. Always.
Have you felt like excluded, or like people weren't helpful?
Yeah, probably. Probably.
I know for me, I had it. My art teacher when I was younger said, "You'll never get anywhere if you wanted to do political work," and I was always quite political in my art. And like then I stopped drawing. Up until university, I was like, right, I'm going to be a graphic designer. First it was photography, fell in love with digital art, and my digital art teacher was very encouraging of me being political in my work. So I remember this specific experience in the hallway where the traditional art teacher and the digital art teacher were arguing about me, about that topic. And so I stopped doing traditional art and went into kind of animation, photography, digital things. And was like, I'm going to be a graphic designer, that's my passion. And it wasn't until after university, where I had mental health struggles, that I went back to drawing. Because I was interning as a graphic designer, and I was feeling this like a complete lack of creative control, because you're right at the bottom where you kind of just are helping people do what they need to do. And then also the political time at the moment was like, Brexit was like, oh, maybe that will happen, and I was like, no, it totally won't happen. Trump was like getting, popular, and people were like, that's never going to happen. And there were these conversations that were, and the Me Too and all of that time, and I just had to make art to like artwork about it, and drawing was like the easiest way in, no barrier to entry, kind of to make work about it. And then why would he, was it, I don't know if it's he or she, but if why would he say, I'm like, I'm going to, I sound awful. I'm like, I don't get stories. I was like, why would he say that you couldn't get into politics and stuff? The way that I see it now as an adult perspective is that he was like head of the art department. He kind of, I like to think he said that in a way of like, I can see that you've got talent. I want you to have a successful career. But if you're known as a troublemaker, and if you're known as someone who is going to speak out on within issues, huge big businesses are going to have a problem with that. And so that is the way I feel like I interpreted it as an adult. But as a child, it was like, you'll never get anywhere if you do this.
I totally understand. So and that was actually a big way of thinking before, and that's why everyone stayed quiet, that didn't have their own voice. And nowadays brands align with you because of your voice, don't they? They align because you speak out and because you talk about things, whereas if you're like, I'm not going to touch on anything, like, it's still tricky though. I know a lot of artists, and I lost work when I spoke up against Palestine, up for Palestine, make sure I say that right. Not again. And I know a lot of people have dealt with that, and there's still a massive fear, I think, of artists and creators speaking out. But the right brands have also kind of like done the work, I suppose, or even sometimes they're doing it for the wrong reasons, but they're doing it. They're putting money into that. But anyway, I wanted to talk about what we talked about your the idea of like redefining success. I'm huge on this. I am massively huge, and actually, before we move on too fast, I've kind of now thought, I was quite an academic girl. I was very creative, but I was forced into more because I was quite good at certain subjects, and I was pushed down, and I was kind of forced down this, life is going to look like this, like you go to uni, you get a job in London, and you get the blah blah blah. And I just remember little things happening in my life, and I've got really good role models, like female. My nan ran away with the circus when she was 15, and she was this wildling, like, and she's brilliant. But she actually died the year after she retired. And I remember I was only 20, and I was like, how is this life? Like, she worked and worked and worked and worked and worked and worked and worked. I had the best year of her life and then died, and I was like, I don't want that for myself. Like, I remember thinking, like, that is not the life I want to lead. And then my grandma didn't have a great relationship with my granddad. She left him, which was unheard of back in the day, and she travelled the world, and it was unheard of. She never got with anyone again, and all this sort of stuff. And I just had these really strong women who didn't seem as like these. They were still women of the generation, like, but I remember just thinking, like, life doesn't have to be this way, and it does roll on to like your own version of success. Like, I'm really passionate about it because I see so many people, like, in the club, like, I'm failing, I'm behind, I'm this, I'm that. You're not, you're just on the journey that you need to get to your version of success. And we are brainwashed with lots of different things, from, we all know, the 10k month, which I don't even want to talk about anymore, but it's that. And I've actually been rethinking about it. I think the 10k month isn't the 10k month, because actually the 10k month, it doesn't make any sense, because if anyone knows, it puts you over the VAT barrier from the UK. It causes all these problems. Actually, it's not a great, you should, I mean, I'm not an accountant, but you either want to go under it or you want to go way over it. You don't want to be like sat in this hard bit of the 10k month. So people don't look at it that way, but I think it like solidifies and becomes like freedom. It's financial freedom, because people don't know what number they're aiming for. They don't know their financial freedom number. So 10k is easy. It's like, that's when I get to 10k
as well,
they're telling me that's financial freedom, so that's great. They don't tell you about all the VAT issues and the accountant issues and stuff you got to worry about. And I really think that's what it signifies. And I think what I really practice, before the number, you work out what you want in your life. You work out your business life and your life, and you blend the two together. But what do you want in your business? How do you want your business to run? What clients do you want to work with? What does an ideal successful business look like to you? Not someone else's, because so many people I know have shut down big businesses because they've gone to agencies and they've gone to this and the other, and they're like, this isn't what I wanted. I didn't want 10 members of staff and all these people coming at me, and I'm not actually designing anymore, I'm not drawing anymore, I'm not doing the job anymore. What does a good business look like to you? Are you still creating, or are you managing? It's different for everyone. Whatever you could love an agency. It's just we're constantly like chasing someone else. And then what does your life look like? Some people want to be working all the time. That's not a problem. You want to be doing 6 days a week. Other people want to work 3 days a week. Other people want to take 3 months off. Like, everyone's looks so different. And then you work out what the finances look around that. Finances are so important. It's not just about like, oh, I want to live a free way of life and have no money. It's like you can have the money and you can have both, but you need to work out what your version of success is, and then what the money is, and then you can work backwards again, like, and then what does that look like in terms of sales and clients and stuff. But I'm just really passionate about, I call it like your own 10k month. What is that number? It could be $1,000 a month. That's all you might need. You might want to raise your children and be really present and take on 1 client a month. Your business might need 50 grand if you're an agency or you're running a big business. Like, you need to know what your figure is.
And it's so different for everyone, depending where they live, what their circumstances,
totally.
Like all this stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
And it goes down the other lane, I think, of like we've been talking about it lately.
The wind.
Oh, it's going to ruin the camera. There you go.
Something like that.
Like, I'm really for like traveling.
Hold on.
That's better.
There we go.
That's better. It's gonna be like a mountain, like
a mountain of stuff holding the tablecloth down. What were you saying? Sorry.
No, I'm for the other side as well, that I think like success, everyone's like traveling the world and doing this. Some people, that might not be their version of success. They're like, I can't think of anything worse than like being on the road all the time. I love that. I want to be out and exploring different countries, but I totally get it. Some people might want to have a little cottage with a garden, and I don't know. Yeah, I want both. I want like
a little bit of both.
Yeah, it's like really dig deep and stop allowing this external pressure to get you. And I let it get to me. We all let it get to us. We push to, and we just start following a little path because someone's told us that's the right way, and it might look really sparkly, but they're not telling you the whole story. And I just think as a creative, like, I was thinking about it today, like coming up and doing this event, like we can do whatever we want to do, like you can do, but then we still trap ourselves, don't we, in this weird little narrative, because we're all used to that, like we should be doing something. It's like, actually, what do you want to do? What does success look like to you, Natalie?
I was so close to getting like an office where I could set up my shop, and it was going to be this much money a month, and and I just pulled out last minute because I was like, I don't want to do this. This is what everyone is telling me to do. This is what I see all the other people doing. I actually don't want my shop to be the biggest part of my business. I want it to be more commercial work, which is always how it's been. And I was like, I have to work harder to make that work for me.
And your whole life will change, because you've then got to like staff the shop, and like, is that the life that you wanted?
like an office. I guess like a paid office that would be like private, but I'd be able to like pack orders.
Yeah, like your own space.
Because it is just at home that I pack orders. And it's like, but actually, it's easy. I don't know. It works for me, and I have so many people that will always be like, "Are you gonna like get a studio?" I've never been able to have a studio that I could like do whatever I wanted, but I love being able to kind of work anywhere. So it's like work anywhere or have a foundation, and I've always been like, I don't know, again, like push back to anything that I've been told to do, and if it works, it works.
Have you read, there's a book called Company of One, and I
love
about
that
it all
book.
the time.
Yes, I love that book.
How good
So
is it?
good.
Because that really reminds you, again, it's this whole external thing. Like I remember I've just been to Alice Benham's book launch, and she's a digital marketer, and she had a book, and she's like, do you know what? It's just really good to hold a book, because when you're in digital illustration or anything digital, you're like, and you want those like tangible things, like an office, or because you're like, I can't see it, I can't, like, it's so hard to like see success, isn't it, when it's all on a laptop?
Digital, yeah.
So I think you sometimes like you fall into, and it's just like this lifelong thing. When I speak to people, they're like, what do you do for business? I don't normally say much, because I'm like, if you're not in the industry, you're gonna find it really hard to understand like digital stuff, because they're maybe more old school like businesses. But I think if I had a shop or an office, big office, my friends would be like, oh my god,
oh yeah,
Kim's
it's that
got
tangible
business.
stuff.
Yeah, it's that external, like, look how successful she is, she's got this massive office. They don't know that it's bleeding like $6,000 a month, this massive thing, and I'm barely making any profit because I'm just trying to keep that thing alive. Like, whereas you don't have the office, if you can do it from home, obviously it all depends on your needs and what will help you and what will make your life and your business easier. You've just got to think, does it matter? It might matter. You might be like, that I want a shop, and I want that to me, that's success. Like, but to others it's like, don't do it because you've seen someone else doing, going, oh, that's cool. Like, I think we've got to get out of that headspace of like, just because it looks cool, it doesn't mean it's going to bring you like fulfillment and want. Joy.
And then that comes when you're going down that road, then there comes a moment where you're like, right, so now I have to redefine my own goals and figure out, shut out the noise and be like, what do I need? And sometimes that's really hard when you're like, do I copy this linear thing that I can see someone else doing, and and then and that's hard, because it's almost like you're building it from scratch for yourself.
And like, totally. And people, it's even like the money side of things, like, and I'm so for creatives earning as much as they can, like get as much money in the pockets of creatives, but like some of the people in the club are like, I'm failing. They might be earning $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month, $3,000. I'm like, but in a normal job, like where I live, $3,000 a month is really good. Like it's a good amount of money, and if you're earning that but also free, you're not a failure. You might want to earn a bit more, but just give it a bit more time, restructure things. But because we're told we should be earning this, and like I say, I want people to be earning as much as they can, like, because I know there's such a money mindset thing. I'm never about don't strive for lots of money, like do it, but don't feel like a failure if you're earning a normal amount of money. And it's like, what do you need the money for? Do you need any more money, or are you just doing it because you're putting pressure on yourself because someone's told you should be? Or are you living a great life? Are you having a couple of holidays a year? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? I've listened to so many things. One thing I listened to, and it really changed me, it's like, stop, because I've always liked the idea of like a house on the beach. I'm a real beach like person. I thought that would be the dream, and someone was like, why don't you just rent one for a month, once a year? Like, why do you have to own it? Yeah, you still live that life. Yeah, you don't have to wait until there's a point, and you never live any kind of joy until you get there. It's like, rent it for the weekend.
What's the best piece of advice you would give to your younger self?
Oh gosh, listen to my gut. Oh, so much more. And to be honest, when I was younger, my gut was really good when I was younger, but
it always is.
It is, and it's probably less now the older I've got, because I think we were talking, you're like, was I right then? Is my gut right?
I'm losing that trust with myself. Yeah,
I feel like we should be like, do a session on like, let's get in back with our guts. That sounds gross.
Activia.
Yeah, let's get some Yakult in us.
I could eat a whole like packet of Yakult. I've done that before, and I got so sick.
Natural yogurt. I saw someone on holiday and they had this tub. Anyway, it's a whole different thing.
Was it that big?
It was literally
like a wheel of cheese.
And I was like, I could do that. But I listen to, like, my parents are brilliant. Love my parents, but they're very traditional, and they hate that I'm going down this untraditional road. They hate it. And
are they entrepreneurs?
No, not at all. No, they're very like traditional path. They would love if I was a receptionist and got married like 10 years ago. They would love it. It would be their dream, like absolute dream. And they would just love if I had a good standard job and got married and had some grandkids and all that. They hate that I'm going down, and I respect my parents, so I listen to them a lot. And it wasn't even listening to them. I took their energy on a lot, and I think we all do that a bit from people. And it's like, take the energy on from the people that you should be, rather than the people that don't know what you're thinking and what you're going through. And as soon as I love them as my parents, but they don't have to be my business support. Like, I've got lots of people that can do that. And I think it's the same with friends. I think if your friends aren't in the industry, they can, like, little comments and stuff can be said, can't they? And it 100%. Like, it really changes your direction. You're like, no, I need to listen, but I'm not taking it on board because that's, you don't know. So it's just really going with, have this idea and go for it, like go hard at it, because I think I've always like teetered around it, like, oh, I don't know, and now I'm really going for it, and stuff is changing massively, and it feels so good. And I just wish I did it when I first thought of the idea like 10 years ago, but I feel like now is the right time.
It's all your little steps to get there, and everything's going well now, so it's all led up to this point.
Absolutely.
I love that. Trust your gut.
Yeah, do it. Trust it.
Trust your gut.
That's some natural yoga.
Well, thanks so much for coming on my podcast.
I love
my first guest.
Oh, I love you, and I love your podcast. Thank you so much.
I'll leave out all your information in the description.
Sweet. Yeah, and like I say, we're free for 2024, so we want everyone hanging out.
Oh, so wait, say a bit more about the fact that you're free for the rest of the year.
Yeah. So I've been listening, and everyone's having a bit of a wild one. Some people are having a brilliant 2024. Some people aren't having the best 2024. So we've decided to halt. It's only a very small payment we charge for the membership, but we're halting it September onwards until January. It's going to be completely free, so we can all end the year on a massive high. And I just have this vision of like all these people from across the world, like giving loads of advice, like tips and insights, and like people in Portugal, like, this is the best co-working spot, you need to go there. And then it just collabs. So it's just hopefully going to be a really cool community space, lots of cool people sharing lots of live sessions and stuff. We've got things like breath work, we should have some yoga and stuff, so it'd just be a nice little founder stuff. So come on in if you want to.
I love that it's for free. It just it's amazing, and I'm sure people are gonna love it. And I love the space. I've been in the space for over a year, and it's been,
since we piloted it,
it's really helped me. And I've signed up to other things that I won't mention, but I've never found anything that has been as great, honestly.
And we've got your sessions coming up, haven't we?
Woohoo!
I can't wait.
Okay, I'm gonna put all the information in the description, but
we don't want to keep rambling on about it. Thank you.
And I'm excited for our event today.
I am. It's like keep saying it's like a kids' party, but I'm down for it. Like,
I've got like some sparkling something in the fridge that we're gonna get soon.
It's gonna be the best.
Amazing.
The best.
Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, my love.
Are you burning in the sun?
I am.
I might have to move the table.
I think we are gonna have to.
Well, thank you. My arse is like sweating.
Please keep that in.
I was on the tube, like I could feel my dress stuck to my butt. Like, oh god, am I just gonna have a sweat? I came back from the gym once and I had a sweat patch on my butt.
I always wondered. I used to get paranoid. Like, so my bum sweat. I'm like, no, it just drips and it holds there. It's like a little bucket. Like, it just waits. I ever see
I have it at the
sweaty
bottom
bowl.
of my butt.
Yeah, oh, it's just not good, is
No.
it? That's why I avoided the tube as much as I could today.
Well, the tube is okay, I think. I was on the tube in this one.
Yeah, actually.